Hey guys, it's Greg Christensen here, Grandview Livestock. I thought you might want to come along today. We're going to take, there's a couple hundred ewes and however many lambs there are with them, and we're going to move them out of this pasture and then a little over a mile down the road to another pasture we have. And so let's see how it goes. We'll keep you, try to keep you here informed. Well, it seems like everybody's pretty well quieted down here now. Looks to me like everybody's paired up and settled in, and of course they started bawling when I drove up here and pulled my camera out. But I think we're good now. A couple guys are going to come back and spray around the perimeter of this. Our electric fence is running about 4,000 volts. It should be running about 8 probably, but I don't think these guys are going to go anywhere. But you only trust them for so long, and they'll be in this one piece of this pasture for, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 days. See how they do, and we'll move the wire. So I'm glad you all enjoyed this as much as I did. Not too often we get to drive animals. I don't know, it might have been a mile and almost a half. But yeah, it's a good time. Good time. So, hey, it's Greg Christensen, Grandview Livestock. Hey, if you like this, why subscribe so you won't miss anything else. And give me a thumbs up. I know somebody's watching. Comment if you have any comments or questions, anything else you'd like to see. Thanks, y'all. Bye. The good thing about sheep is that once you get one of them started, some of them started, then they all just kind of trail in behind. Nobody wants to get left behind. You won't get usually get a renegade sheep that just takes off by itself, like maybe a cattle would if you mishandle them or something. So that's one good thing about sheep, but there's some other things that make them kind of a challenge to move. Sometimes they don't want to go through a gate they've never been through before. They don't know there's a gate. So we're going to have a guy in the lead, leading them down the road, and then we'll bring up the rear, and then he'll lead them into the pasture when they all get up there together. All right, we got the corner of this poly wire pulled away and pulled back. So now they're out that makeshift gate, and we'll head them towards the gate that leads out to the road. It's about another half a mile. And we've got a couple that were just born not too long ago. They're going to be kind of a pain in the rear. But they'll probably make it. We'll help them. As you can see, a lot of these lambs are getting separated from their mothers, so we'll stop up here before we let them out the gate. We'll get them paired back up again, let everybody settle down a little bit, and then we'll go out the gate and down the road with them. This is a lot easier to do with sheep and lambs than it is with goats and kids, I'll tell you that, even though it's not real easy with these lambs. They always want to go back where they came from. Well, I better get those caught back up and pushed up there with their mothers. Okay, so now we're got them holed up here before we go out the gate with them and down the road. Try to let everybody pair back up, find their moms, get calm down a little bit, and then we'll start down the road on them. If you don't do that, they're going to end up, a bunch of them little lambs are going to turn around and try to go back where they came from, place they last saw their mom. Yeah, there's a little guy just found his mom. There's another one there. There's still a dozen or so that are out here looking around. We'll wait for them. We don't want to get in a hurry. Sheep don't know what time it is. They're not in a hurry. Time I was working on a ranch in Colorado, and we was pushing a bunch of cattle through a gate. And it was taking a long time, seemed like they wouldn't go, and the guy I was working with, the older guy, he said, just take your time. Time don't mean nothing to a gate. And so we did. We just held them there, and pretty soon, after time had ticked off, they decided to go on through. Time don't mean nothing to a gate, and time don't mean nothing to sheep. I don't know if you've all ever heard of Bud Williams. If you hadn't, you ought to Google that. You ought to go to hand-in-hand livestock handling class. Bud's passed away now, but you can learn his methods from Richard and Tina. Tina was his daughter, and Eunice would be there. That's his wife. And you'll learn more in 3 days or a day and a half of that. Then it'll take you a lifetime to learn. But one thing I did learn in that was that, you know, Bud, when he went out to do something, didn't know if it'd take 30 minutes or 3 days, but he'd get the job done. And so, you know, we get in a hurry, I get in a hurry, I got other things on my plate that needs done today, but, you know, sometimes you just don't know. When you're dealing with animals, just allow for more time than you think it would take, and don't get upset when it takes more than that. We've been at this about, I don't know, probably an hour now. But we don't want to have to do it again and again if some of those lambs decide to turn and go back. I was talking about Bud Williams. I encourage y'all to go to that class. Richard and Tina and Eunice teach. Investigate where it's going to be in your area. Buy any of the DVDs or videos that they got. You'll save yourself a lot of problems. I'd handled livestock probably 35 years before I went to that class, and I learned quite a little bit. And I always promote it, especially if you haven't been around livestock for that length of time. Now there's conveniently a little trap here, an acre or so, and we'll just hold them up in here again before we head them down the road. They've been this direction before, We've moved them just across the intersection there a couple of times, but they've never been past that. They've never been on down the road to where we're going to take them to today. All right, now we're about ready to go out this gate. So above all, you don't want to have 50 or 60 lambs just turn and try to go back. There's no stopping them, and that's a real mess. It'll take you all day to straighten out. You may have to abort the whole mission. So we want everybody paired up. I want everybody just to walk slowly, walk nicely, treat each other well, and we're gonna open up the gate here in just a little bit. Here they come out the gate. We're going to take them as slow as possible. Trying to keep everybody's with their moms. There'll be some that don't stay paired up. But we don't really want to stop with them again until we get where we're going. If we have to, we can. Yeah, this would be a piece of cake if it wasn't for a bunch of these little lambs. A lot of them would like to get out, but I'd rather have her with me right now. Keep things a little more under control. Had to come up in here. They were turning up this guy's driveway. Didn't have too many in his yard, but they're headed back the right way now. We're a little over halfway. It's always a challenge to keep them out of somebody's yard and their garden and their flower bed. Yeah, it's got plenty warm on us now. It's almost noon. We should have started a little earlier, of course, but it's not that bad out. They'll be fine. But up there at that White House is where we're going. So I guess we could have closed this gate before we started them down the road, but hey, what's the challenge in that? John Wayne never did nothing the easy way. No, we got them under control. They ain't going nowhere. Yeah, they're almost to the gate now. They'll like this place. Well, there they are. Home sweet home for, I don't know, maybe a month, a few weeks anyway. There's about 35 acres in this pasture. But we'll split it up and only give them part of it at a time. Okay, now we've got them moved in here. Put them across the wire that we're going to use to separate this pasture. But we still need to make sure everybody gets paired up. There's still the danger of some of those lambs, and if it's one, it'll be 20. Just taking off and going off and looking for its mom if it hadn't found it yet. So I'm kind of pushing them back up towards that shade. It's a little warm here and they're likely to stay there, and they'll all congregate together, and I feel like they're gonna get their lambs. But whether you're driving cattle or sheep or goats, you need to settle them after you drive them. Pair everybody up, let them get together, let the balling stop. It might take longer than you think, but you know what? Time ain't nothing to a ewe or a goat or a cow. There's some of these sheep eating that hedge tree, and there's a locust tree there. They won't reach up as high as goats will, but they'll do some damage to it. That's all it takes. Well, the balling's quieting down a little bit here. I was going to look and see what all they got to eat here. Wild carrots, red clover, little elm tree, fescue and brome. There's some ragweed down there, of course. Some white Dutch clover. I've forgotten what that weed's called. Fairly common. Some ironweed down in there. It'll grow up, be about 3 or 4 feet tall here soon. Well, this won't. It'll get ate off. But oh, there's some orchard grass. There's a variety of weeds up in here that I don't even know what they are. But looks like they got a smorgasbord out here, whatever they want, along with the woody vegetation. Well, it seems like everybody's pretty well quieted down here now. Looks to me like everybody's paired up and settled in, and of course they started bawling when I drove up here and pulled my camera out. But I think we're good now. A couple guys are going to come back and spray around the perimeter of this. Our electric fence is running about 4,000 volts. It should be running about 8 probably, but I don't think these guys are going to go anywhere. But you only trust them for so long, and they'll be in this one piece of this pasture for, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 days. See how they do, and we'll move the wire. So I'm glad you all enjoyed this as much as I did. Not too often we get to drive animals. I don't know, it might have been a mile and almost a half, but yeah, it's a good time. Good time. So, hey, it's Greg Christensen, Grandview Livestock. Hey, if you like this, why subscribe so you won't miss anything else, and give me a thumbs up. I know somebody's watching. Comment if you have any comments or questions, anything else you'd like to see. Thanks, y'all. Bye.